Hello there and welcome to the SWTVC podcast, the audio home of the SWTVC crew and the ongoing push for the continued existence and success of the heritage scale of Star Wars figures. I'm your host, Evan Fries, or as you may know me on Instagram, Mile High Ground, and I am joined for this inaugural episode by my fellow SWTVC contributors and admins, Tyler, Carlo, and John. And what better way to kick off our first Fan First episode with a look at this most recent Fan First Friday. But before we dive into that, let's introduce ourselves.
I guess I'll start. So I am Tyler Frechette. My Instagram handle is SWCollector3.75. I am one of the 4 contributors to SWTVC. I've been collecting since the mid-90s with the old He-Man-esque Power of the Force figures. I've been collecting since my earliest memories. I don't remember a time when I didn't have Star Wars toys or when I wasn't a Star Wars fan. Currently focusing on completing the vintage collection in both loose and carded form, especially army builders.
Hi everybody, my name is Carlo Velasquez. You can find me on Instagram as TXCarlo. I am a toy photographer and all I collect is 3/3. I started collecting when I was about 9 or 10, mid-90s, with the Power of the Force 2 collection. And I haven't stopped since. I did stop off a little bit. I was playing music and, things like that. But I'm a full-time collector.
Nice. Yeah, my name is John Lindquist. You may know me as Jabba John L or The Vintage Concepts on Instagram. I've been collecting, buying them. I don't know, was I collecting when I was 7 years old? But I've been buying them since I was 7 years old. And I have every single 3 3/4 inch figure that Hasbro has made in the Star Wars line from 95 until now, 2021. And yeah, on my Instagram page, I like to create card art for figures that Hasbro has yet to make or yet to include in the vintage collection that I would like to see. And having a blast doing it.
Hell yeah, man. I similar to Carlo, I got my start in 95 as well with the He-Man Power of the Force stuff. It's kind of fun that seems to be our generation's jumping in point, which is dope. But I did take a break for a while, so I've been playing a lot of catch up. But I'm a carded collector and an opener, so I'm one of those guys that hurts myself by buying 2 of everything, at least. Which actually does lead us into looking at Fan First Friday. So on this past Friday, which was January 29th, Hasbro did their first Fan First Friday of the year, which was a Star Wars focused one. Finally, I think the last one they did was November, right, or October.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Besides Mando Mondays, and they revealed about 10 things plus some upcoming things in the future. We'll talk a little bit more about the balance of that, but the first 2 things that we want to talk about are super exciting: the Season 7 Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano, and Maul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, the quality of all the new figures lately that they've been putting out the last couple of years has been just stellar. I mean, the sculpt, the paint, the articulation is just next level on all of them, and these 2 are no different.
Yeah, I think 9 of them from last year, but there's a few for this year, which so far.
Yes, all new figures.
These are examples of everything that 3.75 can be and is at this point in the line.
Definitely.
They are exceptionally detailed, exceptionally painted, exceptionally articulated. I mean, this is 3.75 at its peak, the best it's ever been for quality wise. Just need more of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's, the rocker ankles really kind of, I expected those with these figures, since especially they've been bringing them back with like the Moff Gideon wave and all that. Just really sailed these over the top, where it's, when they reveal new figures like this, it's nice to be able to see them and be like, oh, that is a definitive release of that character. That is a definitive release of that outfit.
They did do one other release of this Maul outfit about 5 years ago in the, I believe it was the Mission Series line. It's the 5 POA line.
Yeah, that Rebels one.
It came out with an Obi-Wan from similar time period. So season 5 era. It's it was a nice stand-in. I'm super glad to have the new one, obviously.
I remember tracking down that 5POA one back in 2016 or so, and I was kind of going back and filling in holes because that's my favorite Maul look. And I was just like, really? This is the only figure available of that? Okay, whatever. Guess I got to have it.
I have to be honest, my favorite Maul look is his classic, the Phantom Menace look. And I wish that we could get another Maul of this kind of quality because, man, I mean, the original vintage collection, the Phantom Menace Maul, which I'm trying to...
Which we just saw again a few months ago.
2012 for the first time, and then 2020
I'm
for the
trying to
second time.
recall what the VC number is for that. But regardless... 86. I think that, yeah. But anyway, it's a really good figure for its time, I think. But now, you look at this Darth Maul, and man, it just blows any previous Maul out of the water. This is the best Maul they've ever made by far. The Phantom Menace Maul, the horns are a little bit chunky. I don't think it has any wrist articulation, right? It's just the forearms with the gloves, right?
It's a glove. Yeah.
It doesn't have rocker ankles, obviously. The robe,
and it's got that sculpted on wrist thing.
Yeah,
right,
that's a big problem with it too. Yep, that's a big problem with it. Is the non-removable bracelet, and then the robe is not wonderful.
Oh no, it is. Yeah, no.
So,
I love the one from the.
I was just gonna say it's a great figure, but I know that today, looking at this Maul, they could do so much better.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that we have that Maul, and for now that is I hate saying good enough, but it is a good enough release for me right now since there's so much new stuff to focus on. I would love to see them revisit that figure though with modern technology. That's just wow. Like, sorry, John.
No, because Maul has a few other looks as well, like from Rebels and Solo and
exactly
other
Spider
episodes
Maul.
of Clone Wars. Yeah, Crazy Spider Maul that I'd also love to see. So,
oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah.
I love the one from the Visionaries 2-pack. I think
Yes.
that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite Maul. I absolutely love that figure. The paint apps on the face are incredible. Love it.
I don't have one open right now, but I just remembered that I have 2 sets of that Visionary thing, so I have an opener of it.
What?
So
Oh
yeah,
my
I'm gonna have to do that. In the meantime, I've just been dealing with, instead of spider legs, this weird little vehicle spider accessory that came with the Mission Fleet figure. Mission Fleet got him, but we'll get into that in a minute. But I was gonna ask you guys, I know they keep saying Darth Maul. For the name pill, is it going to say Darth Maul or Maul?
Oh.
And what is accurate and what isn't? Like, is it Darth Maul? Is it not?
because on the website, on the Pulse and the websites that have him for pre-order, they do call him Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Oh,
even though
really?
Interesting.
Formerly Darth, now just Maul. He says that in Rebels, so
Says
maybe
that in Rebels.
maybe he still thinks of himself as Darth Maul, even though he's technically not a Sith at this point.
I will just say the people who say that he was never a Sith at all because Plagueis still existed, I guess, while Maul. I'm like, no, he was a Sith Lord, okay? I don't want to hear that. He was very much a Sith Lord.
I like that Legends book until they got to the point where Maul was like, it's like, just get... keep it in Legends. Get that out of here. He's a Sith Lord.
He's definitely a Sith Lord.
Oh, one more thing about Maul. I did have a question. We never saw him break the lightsaber in 2 on his reforged double bladed one.
Yeah, I don't think so. In this fight on
no.
Mandalore, he lost it after he is about to fall. He wants to die, and and then the clone saved him.
Yeah, and-
But in his first appearance, because he wore the same outfit in season 5,
Yeah, and he did just have the
and he
classic.
had just a single bladed lightsaber. Yeah, so that's why I'm glad that this one can cut in half, and he can be for season 5 or season 7.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I appreciate.
Yeah, I noticed that because the Mission Fleet one, I keep talking about it because it's so amazing. The Mission Fleet one does also have that lightsaber that breaks in 2, and it's like, yeah, that I was questioning it, and then it was like, nope, that makes sense actually. Now that you just said that he can have his season 5 one, and then we've got the dark saber with Gideon, so we can give that to him
That's
too.
true.
So
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
wonder if his lightsaber is going to come as a double-bladed one and then a separate accessory for one of each, or if they're going to be somehow able to be linked. Like,
It looks like they both slot in.
In the photography, I
each
did
other.
notice that there's actually knots. They're just kind of both dead ends. So there's no way to plug
Yes,
it in the photo. I think that's
Mhm.
just, yeah.
I noticed that too, but I think the shots for both of those figures are prototypes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's my
Photoshop.
guess.
If you look at Maul's legs, they're totally photoshopped.
Yeah.
I think if you pay attention to the Maul's legs, you can see that they are drawn up. Some
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
I
Yeah.
do like that they gave him the longer face, like the Clone Wars appearance.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah.
And they even mentioned that. So again, it's like their attention
Uh-huh.
to detail is like, they got this now. Like,
mhm.
they can do great things. So with Maul, amazing. I can't sing the praises of that figure enough.
Mhm.
And that leads into Ahsoka. Like,
Lady Tano.
whoa, yes, exact. Thank God for you, John. But
Lady
yeah, we know
Tano.
we were sitting here kind of dejected as TVC collectors, where we sat there with Galaxy of Adventures got an awesome Ahsoka announced
Mhm.
before any other
Uh-huh.
scale, and you know what? Say what you will, that figure is actually really nice, but it's the wrong scale. But it's a really nice figure. And then the Black Series got a really cobbled together one, which I still think is pretty nice,
It
and I
looks
think it's
good.
worth mentioning. John
Yeah.
and I are Black Series collectors as well.
Hate to say it, but yes.
Yikes, boo hiss, trigger warning. But yeah, the Ahsoka in Black Series leaves a lot to be desired.
'Cause it
but
uses
it is-
parts from the Rebels figure, so it's not 100% accurate.
I know I was the one kind of panicking a little bit about, oh no, is this Ahsoka going to be a kit bash? Is she going to be old? Like, what are we getting? Because things were kind of lining up for a while there that sounded a little sketch about this Ahsoka figure.
Because the last vintage one came out in 2012, and then she was put
Mhm.
into the Walmart Black Series line, and so many of those Walmart Black Series figures have been repurposed or carried forward into the vintage collection. So the Black Series had some old parts and some new parts, and it gets the job done. But the vintage collection one is completely new, head to toe, head tails
Yeah,
to toe.
thank God. Head tails to toe. No, I was worried about that. I know I'm sorry I caused a panic with that. I was just like, the information was just aligning in a way that I didn't like, and I wanted to temper
No,
expectations.
And I believe
So-
it too. I mean, at this point, you don't know what to expect anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
because
that
I mean,
is
look
the
at
thing.
Rex. Look at the Rex that we got. It
Exactly.
was that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm really curious about the head. I've never seen the Galaxy of Adventures or the 6-inch one. How is her head poseable?
Yeah,
Because of
barely. The head tails, the Leku.
The Laku, the ones on top are Montrals. I don't know, something like that.
The Galaxy of Adventure one is more poseable than the Black Series one. Black Series head is a little limited by the Leku, and that back one, whereas the Galaxy of Adventures one is designed with a little more space in between.
But so I'm
It's a
glad
really
that
nice figure,
Mhm.
I hope she's
but-
poseable because both Ahsoka and Maul, I mean, they were in that amazing motion capture duel in the final season
right?
with so many cool poses that I can't wait to recreate and,
Oh, man.
see Carlos photos of and all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Hasbro, if you're listening, can we please get a Mandalore throne room display set
Yes.
with a Mandalorian Super
Oh,
Commando or something
yes.
packed in?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Or a Gar
the
Saxon.
Deathwatch, too.
Yeah.
Maybe some 332nd.
Oh my gosh,
Ugh.
Gar Saxon.
Yeah, I don't know why I just asked for wanting an army builder in another play set. That we've gone over that. That's a terrible idea. Anyway, so that goes to say, though, these looks for the characters were just shown at Celebration Chicago 2019. We saw what Ahsoka looked like with the blue lightsabers and her new outfit. We saw Maul. We saw his lightsaber. We saw it wasn't a surprise. We knew about this in 2019, early 2019.
Mm-hmm.
The episodes aired almost a year ago now.
Early 2020.
Yeah, May 4th, 2020 is when it ended,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right? And and here we are. By the time these figures ship, we'll be over a year out from the end of the Clone Wars. So that kind of goes along with Hasbro's timing strategy, reactionary or whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that Black Series tends to get these characters much sooner after their episode.
Entertainment debut.
Yeah, thank you. Their entertainment debut. So, why does it take so long?
The Black Series Ahsoka, since it was a kit bash, they were able to put it together, and it actually came out in what, September, John? Is that when it was? When I can't remember when I went driving around like a madman. But there's people still getting their pre-orders fulfilled and waiting for it now. Because guess what? It was a Walmart exclusive. Boo-hoo. Well, more on that in a minute. But
things like, but Black Series is getting all or most of the Bad Batch.
Yeah, 3 of the 5
right as that show is going to debut this spring.
You know, Bo-Katan, she got announced just after the season, right? I mean, where's our Bo-Katan?
Yeah. Especially since Bo-Katan's an old character and we don't have a single Bo-Katan figure at all.
Exactly. That's super frustrating. Yeah.
And they can take, because they're taking the 6-inch Bo-Katan body and using it for Coscar Reeves.
Yeah.
So they can get reuse on these.
Absolutely.
It would be great to see Bo-Katan and Gar Saxon and, all the Mandalorian figures from the Clone Wars in Vintage Collection. Then they could repaint them to their heart's content.
Oh, yeah.
For Mandalorians from Rebels and The Mandalorian, lots of different cool colors. They're the Clone Troopers were very 2005. Mandalorians could be 2021. You don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Give us all the repaints. We're actually asking for repaints now. Of like make a new Mandalorian sculpt and give us all the repaints.
Yep.
Wear it out for the next 10 years. I'm a little leery about it. I think, John, you had mentioned before we recorded with Bad Batch coming basically by the time, and their arc is over, but it's in time for the show. It's kind of just Hasbro is very reactionary with a lot of this stuff, where it's like I feel like they're not, regardless of whatever kind of secret hangups there are with Lucasfilm, Disney, whatever, and Hasbro, but it doesn't feel like there's anybody at Hasbro putting in the effort to try to figure out what is in the pipeline or what they can make.
Yeah,
and they're just reacting just like, oh, cool, yeah, I guess we'll maybe do that at some point, and then 3 years later.
Because there's obviously so much to get to, and now more than ever with 10 shows coming up in the next few years.
Starting in December, we're basically never going to not have new Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because during the days of Force Awakens and Rogue One, and Last Jedi, they would put out figures like 3 months in advance, and they would hide some of the more spoilery ones, like Luke from the end of Episode 7, or Vader from the end of Rogue One, or whatever, and they would
Island
put those
Journey
out
Ray,
later.
Resistance Ray, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But now it seems to be, instead of 3 months ahead of time, it's a year and a half after the fact, and there's got to be a happier medium in there somewhere where they can work with their partners at Lucasfilm, and secrecy is not always the best thing necessarily. I get not wanting to have leaks and spoilers, but there's got to be a happier medium here.
Yeah, I agree. We'll circle back around to that here in a minute. I do want to go ahead and jump into the next topic of the second part of the Fan First Friday that we wanted to talk about is the finish the 96, the original 96 stuff that Hasbro has kind of recommitted verbally and with nice little graphic again to not like ours though. John, yours is way better. The hashtag finish the 96. Get your shirt now. The Hasbro recommitted and they announced, yay, 3 figures that are new to the Vintage Collection to check off some original 96 slots, boo, Walmart exclusive, whatever. So those 3 figures are, actually, John, I'll let you handle this because you got the nice little setup right by you.
Yeah, so for the Atst Driver, that's the first figure on that beautiful card with the Atst on it, just like in the vintage days. So this figure is the sculpt was first debuted in 2010, and then they added new heads based on director Richard Marquand and producer Robert Watts in 2012 at Kmart. And then they repacked the Richard Marquand one in a 2014 Toys R Us set and a 2017 Walmart vehicle. And now he's coming back out again with the photoreal face on the card. So, we've seen him a lot, but it's really nice to get him with the vintage card finally.
It's a nice
with
enough
the photoreal
figure.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have the swivel hips.
No.
I mean the ball joint hips, but to sit in a vehicle or to stand around and look like the director of Return of the Jedi, that's kind of all he needs to do. That's kind of all he does in the movie. So I'm not too bothered about that repack, even though we have seen him. This is the 4th time we've seen that particular exact figure at this point. Yeah. By the way, during my research, I found out his name used to be Major Marquand, which was extremely lazy on whoever figured that out.
What are we going to call this guy? What's your name? Yeah, I'm Richard Marquand. Cool. Sit.
Done.
And then now he's Major Newland, so they gave him a new name, and it's Newland. So there you go.
Very original. Very clever.
And Robert Watts was Lieutenant Watts. Now he's Lieutenant Blanade. But yeah, so exciting stuff here.
All right.
So we are getting Major Newland in the vintage collection. So that's exciting.
Well, I'm into it. That because I know, John, you've been championing the Finish the 96 stuff on the SWTVC page. You've got excellent posts about that.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, so we saw Leia in the pre-vintage collection, vintage cards in the 30th anniversary collection. And now we're basically seeing that exact same figure again, aside from a head. And new head, new poncho, I assume new helmet, same inaccurate blaster, unfortunately. This is a case where they probably should have done more to update the figure. She, in my opinion, she can... I have her right here. We're on an audio format, but here's a video. She can sit on a speeder bike, and she can kind of hold her arms out straight and hold the horizontal handlebars as they should be.
I like how you use the word, she can, kinda.
She can kind of do it. And I'm not a huge fan of, articulation on skin, frankly. I think it looked like the Dagobah, like that Dagobah Luke from the Black Series in the vintage pack a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not great. But I'm glad they updated the head, and the new poncho looks a lot better than the old one. The color is much more accurate, and the blaster needs to be shorter because they're using the New Hope blaster again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe they'll put the Return of the Jedi blaster in the A New Hope Leia when they eventually get to her.
So you got to collect them all.
Yeah, I will anyway.
So, and we can talk more about these figures. But then the third one was Poplu, and Poplu, of course, is the Ewok who steals the speeder bike. He was played by Kenny Baker in Return of the Jedi. This is the third modern Poplu we've gotten. We got one in 2002, which was a reuse of Wicket and low-grade parts. We got one in 2009, which was a reuse of Ramba parts. And now we're getting a new one in 2021, which is a complete repaint of the 2012 Lumat, which itself had the body of Logray and Tebow. So now he's got those puckery lips, like he's going to give you a little kiss, a little Ewok kiss, underneath the indoor forest moon, which could be nice, but the actual mask, his teeth were showing, and he has sort of the 2009 figure has sort of a pained expression.
Yeah.
Which it's a little extreme, but
it's very much a kill me sort of.
Yeah. Yes. I love that head sculpt though, but it's really funny.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, I'm glad to see Poplu, and he comes on the Ramba film out.
Yeah, we've seen people mentioning like, oh, they got the wrong character on the card, blah blah blah. It's like that was intentional.
Yeah, that was the way they did it in the vintage days, because Ramba has a darker hood than Poplu, which is more light tan. So it doesn't quite match the film out, but that was intentional. That it matches the vintage figure. That's an update to the vintage figure and the vintage card, which I like to see.
I do appreciate that's another kind of thing, like the elongated, like slightly elongated mall head, the attention to detail of like the little things where it's just like, we know it's Hasbro shows us that they do know a lot of this stuff. They do care at some point. They are capable of doing these things and well. And that's what makes it even more frustrating when we sit here kind of looking at things that are head scratchers, kind of like the Zutton, the 96 adjacent. And so some of the reissues, like the Leia, is kind of frustrating. Like not a definitive release.
Yeah, they should. Ideally, they should all be definitive. And since 2016, they've had the ball joint hips, which really add a lot to the figure. But I assume they looked at the tooling they had available, and Walmart was like, "Hey, can we have some exclusives with a little bit of here's a little bit of budget for new tooling." So they probably said, Leia can get a new head, Poplu can get a new hood, and maybe that's it. Maybe these were not the best choices for that then. I know some of us are more disappointed about this figure.
I'm excited to have them on card.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I am glad that we are checking off so many of the original 96 this year. But I think Victoria said it best. If we are going to put the original 96 and especially main characters and tick those boxes off, then they need to be definitive releases. The whole point of the vintage collection is supposed to be, okay, well, and especially the original 96, finish the 96 releases. They are supposed to be the definitive modern counterparts to their, vintage originals. And they are supposed to be the best that today has to offer. And I'm sorry, but this Leia is just not that.
No, not at all.
I mean, she was the best that 2007 had to offer.
Well,
even then,
14 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that neck.
I mean, she's certainly better than the Power of the Jedi one that I have. I think that's the most recent version I have, is the one from 2001.
Carlo, I think the reason why the neck was so long was so that the hood and the poncho.
Right.
And that's not even my biggest, gripe with this figure. My biggest gripe with this figure is they didn't bother to update any of the articulation. And
that's a hard one.
The Black Series just got a gorgeous new, Endor Leia figure.
That
Fully
Leia
nude.
that they just released in the Black Series is definitive.
Yes, and that's what we should be getting for this figure as well. And so it's disappointing because this is sort of our last shot. I mean, who knows what could happen in the future with the vintage collection 3 3/4. It always feels like we're on the brink of losing the line again, right? I think we're
Right.
I think we're on a trajectory towards a healthier line right now, but you just never know. One bad mistake, one bad wave, who knows?
Yeah.
So we have to treat each of these figures as if this is our last opportunity to ever get this character again.
And I think that's where a lot of disappointment comes from, like with Rex too.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Rex. Yeah, I just want to point that out that but I was thinking for months about opening that Leia that was in the case, and I didn't want to do it because that's the only Leia that I have. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna open it. I haven't seen this figure like this in years because I lost the other one that I had, the loose one. And I opened it hoping to have the face repainted. And a week later, they announced this one. So now I don't have anything.
Timing is everything. But
So let me know if you want me to open another figure. Maybe we get
please open
we'll see a week later.
Open a Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan for me, or
yes.
or a New Hope Obi-Wan. So that's the OG 96 stuff it's good. It's a mixed bag, but honestly, I'm glad that we're getting 8 kind of so far confirmed or rumored for this year. Which is pretty good,
quite a few,
since there's not going to be as much time for them if they are serious about doing the new media.
One more thing about the Leia articulation, because she and the Atst Driver both have swivel hips, not ball joint, but so does the new Bespin Leia that's coming out in the next new wave. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure she reuses the legs from the Hoth figure from 2010.
She has swivel hips, yes.
And we haven't seen the final figure because we've only seen digital renders of that wave. But as far as we know,
I'm curious to see though. I mean, that Leia is imminent. We're like 2 months away from having it in our hands, and we still haven't seen the figure. It's crazy, but whatever. So the last thing about those figures are, we don't even really need to talk about the fact that they're Walmart exclusive, and that's a huge problem. I think that's the issue speaks for itself now. Everybody is so after the Clone Wars Black Series wave and the handling of VC 177, both of them, because
even the carbonized figures, we pre-order them and and the retro figures, you pre-order them, then they show up in stores, and then sometimes they go on clearance before the pre-orders even ship. If they don't cancel your pre-orders altogether.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Thank God Hasbro came out ahead of it even before they started the stream. Like they were like, hey, before we get into this, there's some things that won't be available today because we're aware of some issues with some certain pre-orders. And that was nice that they at least are trying to listen, but it did feel like a slap in the face when they're like, and here's more vintage figures exclusive to Walmart.
Yeah. Well, original 96.
They would be, there's no way they can't acknowledge it because 80% of the comment section during that live feed was, unhappiness, to put it lightly, with Walmart.
Yeah, it's a it's a disaster the likes I've never seen with a figure in all my years of collecting Star Wars stuff. I don't know, John, if you can think anything more weird.
It's not great.
It was insane. So anyway, I know it's a huge thing. We don't really need to talk about it too much since we've already whined about it a lot on the SWTVC page. I know I put up a Walmart exclusive retrospective a couple months back. Still relevant, always relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and then the Lucasfilm 50th sticker. I know some folks are not into it. Before you guys complain or praise it, I will just say I don't mind it, so that tar and feather me if you will. It is a little large, but I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either. Actually, I love that. So let me explain before you jump down my throat, guys. I love that the vintage collection is being included in this 50th anniversary celebration. I do. I think it deserves absolutely to be part of that. My issue is with the execution, and I think that's what everybody's issue is. It's not the fact that that's on it. It's about the fact that it's printed on it. Like there should be a sticker of some kind either on the bubble or the card that people can remove if they so choose.
Well, no, yeah, because the Episode 1 figures, they do have a sticker. The Episode 1 6-inch figures, their sticker is on the bubble.
Yeah.
And yeah, but on the
archive releases have it printed on.
Yeah, and on the Kenner repaints on the vintage cards, it's in the upper left as well, which I'm not thrilled about. But because then they had to move the warning sign. They moved the age thing to the other side. They moved the warning label to the bottom, so it interrupts the racetrack, the silver racetrack around it, which also does not look great.
Yeah, and it's just not consistent with the rest of the whole line.
Yeah,
so.
Which if there's any time to fix that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's a minor nitpicky issue. It's not a hill I'm going to die on. It's just kind of like if you have a chance to maybe do a running change, we'd appreciate it.
Because I need 2 versions of a Walmart exclusive to track down. That's
absolutely, can't wait. You know what? Make all the variants you can of Walmart exclusives, because that's not going to be maddening.
Boba Fett's gonna be fun too.
Yeah,
to catch up with.
I just gave Tyler, speaking of Walmart exclusives and Boba Fett, I sent him some incinerator troopers, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll send you some stormtroopers." I was like, "Wait, actually, instead of that, if you get a variant Boba Fett, send me that instead."
Oh yeah.
So that's that for the OG96 stuff. The last part of Fan First Friday, the reveals that we want to talk about were the pipeline reveals concept that Hasbro finally decided to come out and give us more than just a figure reveal and be like, "Hey, listen, we know that you guys want to know, a little more transparency, what's coming." For Black Series, they revealed 5 things coming, which were all cool. For Vintage Collection, we got 2 pipeline reveals, which did confirm some rumors. We're getting IG-11, and 1 year too late, we're getting Bespin Lando.
Yeah, just in time for the 41st anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, to go with our 1.5-year-old carbon freezing set.
Yeah.
No, but it was encouraging. I liked that they're finally being like, okay, here's some glimmers of hope to hold on to.
Right.
It's not, you're not just getting one thing and then go away for 6 months.
Right, exactly. I think it will make it more exciting because to me it's jarring having to be excited for rumors.
Yeah.
You know, it's, and you're digging and Discord and Reddit. Let's just put it out there. Let's see. Tell us how many figures are coming. Just give us a peek. We'll be excited and we'll know what to expect. And I think that's nice. I'm glad they paid attention to that. But I cannot wait for IG-11. Yeah. I have a problem with IG droids. I absolutely love them. I cannot wait for IG-11. I'm super excited for it. I hope it's a new sculpt.
I hope so too. And I'm kind of leaning towards it being at the very least mostly new.
I think so too.
Because the Black Series just took...
Yeah, the Black Series one was bleh.
For the IG-11, they just took the IG-88 sculpt and added some bandoliers as far as I know. That's all they did to it. Yeah.
Yeah. The hands are wrong. But
yeah. The shoulders are wrong. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. John, so you were saying what 2019, what Hasbro did for Vintage Collection was dope.
Yeah, so throughout a few conventions of 2019, they would have, like, on their PowerPoint presentations, they would have a slide that had a list of all the upcoming figures in the Vintage Collection for the year. Some of them, it would have the VC number, but not the name of the figure, or it would say where it would be available. Would it be a mainline release? When would it be coming out? Would it be an exclusive? and they didn't do that for 2020. But the pipeline reveals thing was sort of a step back towards that. And if they could just do that again, that would give us a lot of hope to know that the line's still healthy and still doing great.
So we'll actually get to see what's slotted in, and
because we can get excited for the stuff ahead of time, then we can get excited when they actually
give us
reveal
a quantity to be excited about. So it's like, hey, you guys are getting 40 figures this year. We'd be like, cool. Now we know we're getting 40 figures. What are they going to be? As opposed to just like, are we going to get anything else? Like,
please, sir, have some more.
Yeah, but it was nice with the original 96 figures being a complete surprise. Like even, Jason from Yak Face was like, wow, that was nice. Because he usually knows everything. So that was nice. Pleasant change of pace to actually be surprised by a overall decent reveal.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just want to bring up a couple little things that I noticed that Patrick said during the Fan First Friday live stream that gave me pause and a little bit of like, that seems a little confused. For 2021, Patrick said that 2021 would have more vintage collection product than any previous year, but I imagine that means since the relaunch in 2018. That's a bold claim because right now we only know about like 30 figures that are confirmed, and just figures. So 2019, to put this in perspective, 2019 had 43 products total, which included 40 single-carded figures, 2 3-packs, 2 loose pack-in figures with other things, 5 vehicles, and a playset, and then, of course, the shipping of the barge. That's a decent amount of product right there. Of course, I'd love to have more, so I'm curious that if 2021 is in fact going to have more.
Yeah, because 2019 got a lot for the sail barge, kind of to build out the Jabba's Palace scene around that. So hopefully they'll be doing something similar with the Razor Crest this fall when that finally ships to us.
Yeah, I have a hunch. We are getting a blurg. I have a hunch.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah,
because now that we're getting IG-11, we still need Queel is strongly rumored.
Yeah,
They ride IG rides a speeder bike. Queel rides a blurg. Can we get a
Leia rides a speeder bike? So it'd be a great time to reissue the speeder bike. So overall, my thoughts. We don't need to get into it about the reissue waves. Just the quick thing that I said about that was Patrick said that he was assured that. In case you missed it, that the reissue waves were sent in minimal quantities to brick and mortar. But my issue with that is this is the most well-distributed and well-stocked wave I've seen since the Wolf Wave last summer. Everyone's finding it. It hit both the Walmarts here in Podunk, Wyoming, 3 cases each.
Wow.
Is nuts. And that kind of is like, well, so what's happening with the other waves? Where are they going? What's minimal quantity? Anyway, that's a thing to unpack later. We can talk about it another time, and we won't even touch the character selection of the reissue waves because
I still haven't seen them here in Portland. None of them. None of the figures
of the Peasant Anakin wave.
Yeah, none of them.
Oh,
and I was excited for the droids, but who knows? I'll wait a little bit longer to get them. But
I do have an extra droid if you end up needing one. I picked up a couple to army build. So,
thank you.
If you don't find them, let me know.
Dibs on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So overall, Fan First Friday, we got hashtag balance the scales. We got 5 Black Series reveals, 5 Vintage Collection reveals. That was encouraging. We got them to address the terribleness of the Walmart exclusives. They're focusing on on finishing the 96 and what was the last thing? Oh my God. Oh, more product this year. So
right.
Guys, I'm very encouraged by the tone and direction of this most recent Fan First Friday and where we sit.
I was just going to say that I really like the way they handled both lines. It felt balanced. Maybe not in the character selection because we're getting some repacks, but it definitely seemed an effort that was 50-50. It wasn't like before one ugly repack for TVC and then 65 new 6-inch figures.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, here's 2 waves of Black Series. Enjoy your repack.
I might be forgetting my history, but it seemed like it was one of the older Fan First Fridays that kind of started the whole resurgence of, a fan discussion about the vintage collection.
Yeah.
When they were talking about how, Black Series is where the market, dictating what the market
demands,
needs. Yeah.
Oh, I
And
remember that. Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, revealing a whole bunch of new Black Series and only one, a repacked Luke or a repacked Poe or whatever. And it's like, we gotta, maybe it won't, maybe, you know, the sales numbers aren't there to be completely 50-50, but let's balance them a little bit more. And so I was very encouraged by this Fan First Friday.
I think
Very happy with it.
The biggest thing is the pipeline reveals. Obviously, the balance was very, very good. And I welcome that and I encourage that. And I think that's very much on the right track. But I think the even bigger thing was them finally being more sort of candid with us about what is coming down the road. I think that helps with sort of the anxiety in the community, you know, the uncertainty, the frustration. It also allows us to course correct as well. Because let's say, like the Revan situation, for example, right? We had time to tell them, hey, we want Revan in the line. That is a character we definitely want in the Vintage Collection. But just so you know, that figure is no longer acceptable and not up to TVC standards. So we were able to course correct on that because we had enough time in advance to know that it was coming. So these pipeline reveals really, really help with that, because if they try to put in another, you know, repack or whatever, we can tell them, no, try again, right? So the Rex fiasco would have never happened because, I mean, we tried to get loud about it. Apparently the community wasn't loud enough about it beforehand, even though every fan site was telling them,
well,
this is the one we want, this
there.
is the one we don't want, and they gave us the one we don't want. But, you know, the pipeline reveals, I think, will help with that a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm overall, my takeaway from Friday is I think this is the first time I've felt this optimistic about the future of the Heritage Scale.
Yes.
Oh yeah, me too. Totally.
In a while. And I've enjoyed a lot of the rumors and stuff coming out. It was really great to see a lot of stuff confirmed. So let's use the last 4 minutes here to kind of just do a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Thank you to everyone who's participated in the giveaway. Winners, second place through fifth place winners were announced. I'm shipping out their winnings later this week. And we're less than 50 followers away from hitting, at the time of recording, from hitting the Falcon giveaway. So I can't wait to ship that wherever. So if you're listening to this and you haven't, and it's still open, make sure that you've entered or that your entries are valid by liking, commenting, all that stuff.
Tag your 3 collector friends.
Yeah. It's going to be dope. And then also merch. I just threw up a couple new designs on the store earlier today. You can find our shirts if you want to support us at all. It's www.bonfire.com/store/SWTVC.
The link's right in our bio. So.
Yeah, it's in our bio. We got a bunch of fun stuff in there. We don't really pocket the money from that. That money goes basically into covering the shipping costs of the giveaways and the prices of the figures. So we're putting the money right back into our community as kind of a thank you for, you know, joining us on this little ride and campaign to hopefully get more awesome figures. I just want to thank you guys for all that. Super grateful to be a part of this community. So let's sign off here. If you guys want to go around, let's go around really quick and just say your Instagram handle again.
Sure. So you can find me, Tyler, at SW Collector 3.75. And obviously, if you're not following SWTVC, be sure to follow that. I'm not sure how you would be on this live stream and not be familiar with our Instagram page, but just in case, definitely follow the page.
And you've been doing a bunch of appearances on other live streams, like with Bosk's Bounty and the Facebook Vintage Collection group.
Yep. And also Victoria on the Vintage Collection podcast as well. So shout out to our allies in the community. We appreciate you guys, and we look forward to having you on as guests very soon.
Carlo, how about you?
You can find me on Instagram as TXCarlo. Don't forget I do toy photography. And I just wanted to thank everybody that's listening and tuning in, and thanks for your support.
Yes, amen.
You can find me at The Vintage Concepts on Instagram, and I've been doing a lot of posts for SWTVC, so I'm excited to continue that and to do more on my own. We just finished up to finish the 96 and can't wait to talk about that on this podcast.
Yeah, that's tune in next week. We'll be getting into Finish the 96 with some special guests. I am, again, Evan, Mile High Ground. It has been awesome to be able to do this chat with you guys, and I hope any listeners out there, I hope you enjoyed.
May the Force be with you.
Always.